Hello, 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 friends. How are we today? How are we doing?
It's Saturday. Let's confirm.
Yes, it's Saturday. I had to ask Alexa earlier just to make sure. And that, my friend, is the truth. I hope everyone is well, living the dream inside your house. There we go. How is everyone? It's good to see you, Sean. Hello, everyone. Hello, Linda. How are you, Linda? I hope you and your mom and the girls and all the girls are well. I don't know. Hey, Jess, how are you? Hey, GK.
Catnip.
All right. Everyone. I'm so excited to see you guys. I just told Awen it's so nice to talk to somebody that doesn't have my last name. I love that. Oh, hello, Sean. Good. I'm glad Mom is good. Good. Awen, what have you been doing around your house?
You know, I cleaned the kitchen. I scrubbed the kitchen, sealing the floor, scrubbed all the appliances. I'm like, okay, now what?
Gavin says our house smells like the pool at the Y, like the bleach. Yeah. I'm pretty sure walking through the living room is going to change the color of my shorts. I'm like, it's not that bad. God bless. Catnip, how are you? Oh my goodness. So, what does everybody think of Mom of the Year, Leticia? I thought Lori Vallow was going to win Mom of the Year, but Leticia came in strong, man. Like she, I don't want anybody to top her because this is some crazy stuff.
And the affidavit made it worse than we already knew. Like, was that possible? And yeah, it's possible. It's worse.
And it's unfortunate. I have some opinions that not everything in that affidavit is now accurate.
Right.
So what's going to happen is because of her new charges, there will be more information. And that's the information that's going to just drive it home. And hey, my Gannon shirt came this week. So I have my Gannon shirt. So I'm pretty excited about that. Hey, Tony, how are you? Yeah, Jess, evil is... I don't even know if there's a word to describe her. I really don't.
There isn't. A lot of people were talking in Discord about, her psychological diagnosis. I'm like, at this point, there isn't one. It's just call her evil. That's it. That's as far as we're going to get with her. And that's what we see.
Yeah, just check all the boxes on all the medical forms because she has everything.
Yep.
I mean, if you've ever seen Batshit Crazy Stew, that's this woman. Like, I can't.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Hey, Angel, how are you? I don't know. I can't deal with her. So has everybody looked through the affidavit? Because I read it and I was like, whoa. I didn't know. I'm sure, Awen, you went over with a fine-tuned comb, but
yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And let's remember what this document is. This is the probable cause affidavit that law enforcement had to present to the court in order to get her arrest warrant. So this was before they found Gannon, before they know a lot of things that they know now. So the information is the best that they had at the time, but it is subject to change. But there's some very interesting things in here.
Yeah. Tony, excuse me. Tony, a recap. It really breaks down things that she said to law enforcement, things that she said to Al, things that she possibly did to Gannon, and just all of her bizarre activities. It's just, there's no way to recap. I'm going to pull it up and I'll point out things that really, like, I thought, whoo, yes, Jess, all the cars. I mean, once we saw the witness list, there was more than one rental car place. So you started thinking, okay, how far did she take this? And I feel like now with the Florida crap, there's going to be more. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I can't. I don't know. Uh, yeah, Tony, I wish I could do better, but it's so nuts. It's so nuts. I agree, Larissa. Every time you think you've got everything, it just gets worse. Just gets worse. I mean, there for a while we had what? Lori Vallow, Leticia, and Megan, right? Isn't that her name?
Yeah, Megan Firamuska.
No,
Or Boswell.
Maggie. Yes,
Boswell,
thank you.
yeah.
I could see your face. So they were all like neck and neck. And then, yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larissa. Do you think she used all three weapon types? I don't know. And her new charges, when they found Gannon, they where's my note from that day? There are 2 counts with a sharp, instrument or knife, 2 counts of a blunt, object, 2 counts with a firearm. So I don't know. I'm not sure I want to know, but I agree, Amy. Whatever bad karma is coming her way, I hope it comes in a wave that almost kills her on the spot. I agree, Linda. Why are all these cases involving children? Every single
all we've seen since the beginning of the year. It's been nonstop, child after child after child. All of them
it
with
started with Heidi Broussard at the beginning of December. Now, thankfully, baby Carrie, which I just refuse to say her first name, she's going to deal with this the rest of her life. So baby Carrie was recovered, but Heidi was not. And it just seemed like that beginning of December, it just kicked off this wave of like, whoa. Yeah. Because actually, that's how I found the Vallow case. I was looking up stuff about Megan Firamuska, and they were talking about, how bizarre some cases are. And the Vallow thing popped up for me in early December, and I was like, whoa. So then we went into Vallow, and then these other people seem to follow suit. I can't understand. I don't know.
So what this document lays out for us is a lot of pieces of the story that we were missing, right? We knew she was arrested. We knew that they found Gannon's body, but it was like, well, he was in Florida. We had no idea. How did he get to Florida? When did this happen? So we get a few new details from this document that if these are the actual facts, which is what the FBI and the detectives are asserting are the facts at the time, that she rented 2 cars in just a span of a few days in late January. There's 2 different cars listed for the rentals. A silver Nissan Altima and a white Kia Rio. Both were rented between January 30th and February 1st. So those aren't the cars she took to Florida. So that's going to be something to discover. How did she get to Florida? So it wasn't one of those cars. But remember, one of those cars, as far as we know, had like 900 miles put on it. That's a lot for staying around Colorado. So that's something we need to talk about. But also what we found out in this document is that they are alleging that she killed Gannon on the 27th in his bedroom, early afternoon, about 3-4 o'clock-ish, and then hid his body the evening of the 28th off a highway somewhere nearby. And then later on took it and then took him to Florida. That was a little crazy to me. I wasn't expecting that, and I don't like it at all.
One of the most interesting, Sweet Crazy. I've seen many places they said it was wrong, and I believe someone here said something about 71 miles, but I'm not sure exactly what car that was because I don't want to use the word infatuated, but kind of am with her ridiculous stories to the officers about her being attacked and all these weird things and stories and names. So we can run through this. Now, the first page, the first couple are just the detective Jessica Bethel. The first one just talks usually what it always talks about in paragraph 1 of the affidavit, how they are qualified to write this out and make these claims. Number 2 goes over her original charges, which this was filed on February 28th, long before Gayden was found. It was murder in the first degree, child under 12 in a position of trust, child abuse resulting in death, tampering with the deceased human body, and tampering with physical evidence. Now, most of this talks about the thing. Number 7, investigators have executed physical search warrants and collected evidence from vehicles associated with Leticia, cellular devices utilized by Leticia, and from the residence of Leticia. Electronic search warrants have been executed to entities including but not limited to Facebook, Apple, Google, AT&T, Verizon, ADT, Tile, Life360, Yahoo, and Ring Doorbell. So all of her digital footprint is really going to be what kicks her ass. And we knew that from the get-go, in my opinion, with her insane, social media war on the public that she really thought she was winning. Like, really thought she was winning. Okay. So, all right. Okay. Hit the wrong button, sorry. So we know Al, Leticia, Harley, Gannon, of course, Lena. Now, the vehicles, we have Al's truck, Leticia's Volkswagen, and then Harley's Volkswagen. Now, Leticia rented a silver Nissan Altima. Now, this car was obtained by her aunt and utilized by Leticia from the January 30th, February 1st, after her car was seized by El Paso County Sheriff's Office. So she rented this car for 2 days, which is ridiculous. Now, the 2 days prior to that, she rented that white Kia Rio from the 28th to the 29th. So those 2 rental cars, I get if they took her car, great, she needs to get a ride, but why only need it for 1 day? Wouldn't it be something that she would hold on to, in my opinion? I don't know. I have no idea. It makes no sense to me. Now, number 14 is just going over her, basically the lie she did on job applications and former charges that she's had.
Questionable history, criminal in some
right, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, how do I word this nicely? Like, there were red flags coming our way. That's basically what it is. 15 talks about Al going out for his deployment with the National Guard and then returning home on January 28th. Let's see. I'm trying to make sure. Awen, if there's something on the screen, a particular number, because I have a couple numbers when we get to, I'm like, I have something to say.
Yeah.
Like, don't you worry your pretty little mind about it. Basically, Al, of course, cooperated because he's a human. On January 27th at 6:55, Leticia reported Ganny missing after calling 911. She was instructed to call El Paso County non-emergent line. In summary, Leticia stated Gannon was supposed to be home approximately an hour ago, that she was unable to locate him at his friend's house. Her story dramatically changed multiple times over the following days. That, my friends, if you've not read this, is an understatement. Dramatically changed that's not even in the ballpark of what she pulled. I would love to see this body cam footage.
Oh yeah.
Number 20 talks about they do have body cam footage of her that she consented to. Oh, geez, Louise. Tip line. Oh, okay. Here's one. Number 21. A tip line was established, and investigators received hundreds of tips and leads from the public by virtue of emails and telephone calls. As part of this tip line, 2 ransom notes were received by email demanding money in the form of Bitcoin in exchange for Gavin's return. Investigators took steps to validate these ransom notes. including if I could speak, including resolving and geolocating the addresses from the email headers and requesting subscriber information from the ISP that hosted those addresses. One of the ransom notes was sent from a foreign-based email account that is accessible by multiple individuals. Investigators were unable to trace the user of the other. They believed him to be fraudulent in a scheme to receive money. But there's part of me that thinks, how far did this crazy broad go? Like, I don't know why, but it's like, it would not shock me if she thought she was going to be able to pull that one. It wouldn't shock me. Okay. So this is when we have her stories. Number 22, Leticia initially claimed that she last saw Gannon on January 27th when he left their residence to play with his friends somewhere around 3:15. Based on the facts outlined below and Leticia's statement to El Paso County dispatcher, Leticia's the last person to ever see Gannon alive. Leticia stated she attempted to find him at a neighbor's house and sent her daughter, Harley Hunt, to look for Gannon at a park. Number 23, Leticia lied to on multiple occasions, has unexplained abnormal behavior such as obtaining a rental car, disconnecting her cell phone from the cellular network for an extended period of time, the false reporting of an alleged sexual assault, abnormal patterns of travel, a continuously evolving story with material changes in facts and circumstances, and has since left the state of Colorado. These actions, when combined with other facts in this affidavit, support the totality of probable cause for the requested warrant and will be discussed below. They could have saved a lot of ink and big words and just said she's a big fat liar. Wait till you see what's coming in the next paragraph.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I get that they have to do this all, nice and kosher and whatever, but come on now. That's just me. So if the next part we're getting into is what happened, what they're claiming that this, as of February 28th has happened to Gannon. I don't know. Awen, would you like to read? Everybody likes your voice. Can you see it? Or?
Yeah, hold on. I got to open on my screen too.
Yeah, because I'm like, I don't know. Because I'm already about to start to yell.
Do we want to read the gory details or gloss over those and let people read for themselves? How do you want to do that? Because they're pretty bad.
They are pretty rough. T1, how are you? I missed you. Sorry, Awen. Oh my gosh. It's like my long life in town. That's funny. I think that everybody here has probably looked at it, and it's on the screen. And I mean, read what you're comfortable with. That's why I was like, tag, you're it. I am.
It is on the screen. So, and we're putting links in the chat. Katnit and I both dropped the link to it so you can go read it in its entirety for yourself. The basic, let's start with paragraph 25. Investigators believe that Gannon was murdered by Leticia Stauch in the afternoon hours after approximately 2:14 on January 27th at his residence, and more specifically in his bedroom. Physical evidence recovered from the residence and inside Gannon's bedroom supports that a violent event occurred inside his bedroom, which caused bloodshed, including blood spatter on the walls, and enough blood loss to stain his mattress, soak through the carpet pad, and stain the concrete below his bed. And they have photographs of this evidence, and they're included below. The photographs are in the affidavit, but you can't really see them because they're black and white and very dark and whatever. So that's 24 or 25. 26 says that based on evidence recovered from the residence, Gannon's remains were eventually brought through the house. Now, all right, what they're saying is they were brought through the house from his bedroom into the garage, loaded into the back of Leticia's Volkswagen Tiguan, and after cleaning the murder scene, Leticia utilized the Tiguan to transport and dump Gannon's remains on the evening of the 28th. Leticia likely disposed of his remains off Highway 105 and South Perry Park Road in Douglas County, Colorado. And indeed, the Metro Crime Laboratory determined that the blood discovered in Gannon's bedroom in the Stauch's garage and blood on a piece of particle board located off that highway spot all matched his DNA profile. Now, later on, they say that they believe that she used the particle board to sort of to get his body out of the car and dump it, and she left it there. So later on, when she picked his body up, she just left the particle board. But they found that, and also they'll get into all of the GPS data and cell phone data and all of that stuff to say pretty much they can place her at that location on the night of the 28th. So, you know, that's the basic of the physical evidence that they found in his bedroom. So that's a lot of blood loss. That made me stop and think, because before what we heard was they found like a saucer shaped blood stain. That's not what that is. If there's blood spatter on the walls, there's blood spatter on one of the electrical outlets. It was all attempted to be cleaned, right? But they were still able to locate it. But they didn't locate it on their first few visits to the home. And that's a problem that I have that we can talk about later. But eventually they found in the corner of the room where the bed was pushed up against the corner, blood on the mattress that soaked through, blood on the carpet, blood under the carpet on the pad, under the pad on the concrete. That's a lot, right? So they don't go into detail of what they think happened, because remember at this point they hadn't found his body. So they don't know what the injuries were, but they were pretty sure at the time of the writing of this paper that she had killed him in his bedroom, dumped his body, and then took it somewhere else. So, yeah.
I don't know. It almost also appears that she put him in her car,
Mm-hmm.
and then got the rental when she got out because Gannon was in the car.
Right.
That it also makes that look like a possibility, which
Yep.
I can't even put words to that.
Yeah, she did pick up Al at the airport.
That kind of goes to that's my theory in a sense. That's what my mind says is possibly could have happened. Like, and it makes me uncomfortable, like sitting here. I'm like, ugh. Like, but she's that jacked up that she would do that, I think.
Yeah. Because she did pick up Al at the airport, but obviously she couldn't take her car if his body was in it, so she rented a car, which is, it's very suspicious that she even rented a car. Her reasoning for renting a car is also ridiculous. So now I think we figured out why she rented that first car, and that's pretty.
That's kind of what I think.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after all of that, number 27 is just them confirming, Harley was aware Gannon was at school. Now, Leticia told Al that I'm just going to leave him an excuse at work and stay home with him. She does not say, my son is sick, I need to hang out with him for the day, make sure he's all good. Indeed, Leticia did come up with an excuse, and she told her employer via text message that her stepdad was killed after being hit by a car, and she would not be able to come into work that day. Pardon?
That's so crazy.
Like,
that's so crazy.
That escalated quickly. How do you go from a sick child to my stepdad was hit by a car?
Right. Why not just call into work and say, my son is sick, I have to stay home?
Or
but no, she has to make it crazy.
Today. Sorry for the late notice. Have a good day.
Yep. But she has to make it crazy, and that's part of her pathology, is to you take something that could be little and make it giant.
Flair. And it's natural. Like, that's a natural story to her. I'm like, get the hell out of town. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
What are these? This is when she was looking to see. They believe she was searching. This is where she took a picture of him sleeping in his bed. I find that very weird.
Yeah, this is very creepy.
Yeah, and then they, you could see his switch in those photos. But to date, they haven't found his switch. Now, whether or not his switch was with him in Florida, we don't know. But as of February 28th, they had not find it. They could not find it, or had not found it. I'm sorry. But then on January 28th, at right around 1:00, there's a Google search on Leticia's phone that says, "Can Nintendo find my Switch?" So she was looking to see if Nintendo had the capabilities to find a Switch had it been, misplaced, lost, similar to what Apple can do with your phone,
Right.
whatever. So it found the investigator found that Nintendo does not have that sort of capability. Okay, now we're getting into all of the surveillance stuff. Yeah,
Well, get me about the surveillance. Let me interject one part.
Lauren, you might be right. Wouldn't that have been interesting? Not interesting, but like,
oh, wow,
that's an
yeah.
That's hold on. Put
That
up
changes
here.
the whole thing, doesn't it? Oh, Lauren, really good catch on there, because that would change the entire thing.
Hey, Ginger Lax, how are you? Yeah, Tony, it's like this little handheld game. I don't know. When I go upstairs, I'll get Gavin's and show you. Exactly, Lauren. That's pretty interesting.
Yep. I like that. I like that a lot. That makes so much sense to me.
I'm writing that down.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Ginger Locks.
Wow, that is interesting. Okay. So now this just talks about all of the what we saw of Roderick's surveillance footage. Talks about that. It says the video camera is several homes away and does not provide images clear enough to make positive identifications of those captured in the recording. And this is kind of important, even though nobody really believes he got out of that truck, which is hard. But after viewing the video, I cannot be sure if another person exited the vehicle or not. But I submit Gannon likely did return home with Leticia that afternoon. These times, corroborated by data collected from an ADT security system installed in the residence, are discussed below in more detail.
Now, I think personally, because they go into this a bit deeper later, the detective basically says they can't see if he got out of the truck on the other side. The way the video is, the distance, the graininess, you cannot tell. I believe he did get out of the truck because he was killed in his bedroom. He had to have been there, and we saw him get into the truck. So she couldn't have killed him before he got into the truck because he wouldn't have walked to the truck. So I believe he did come home with her. He did get out on the other side. We just can't see it in the video. That makes the most sense. There's no way to explain how he was killed in his bedroom if he didn't get out of the truck and come home. So,
right.
Maybe somebody will have a better video that we'll find eventually, which would be nice, but it stands to reason that he did get out of that truck.
I mean, based on this, he would have to have.
Right.
Like, I can't understand another option. And I think about that too, that he could have seriously been injured before he got into the truck.
It was her trip to Petco so important.
Show that he was bloody at all, then I don't know. It's very difficult to. I mean, clearly all of their evidence is not in this 32-page document. The discovery is where, I don't want to be like, it's where it's at, but that's where we're going to find the fine-tuned details and know every single thing that they know. But that won't come to us for a long time.
Mm-hmm. Although, remember, this was leaked. They had a hearing, I think yesterday or the morning before, where the court just decided to allow this to be released after it had already been leaked. So it's possible other things will get leaked along the way because clearly somebody wants the public to know what she did. So, yeah. But I kind of hope they don't. I mean, I want the information, so I'd really like to see it all, but I don't want them to compromise this trial because I want her to be convicted of every possible charge they can dream up, but exactly. I have a feeling we're gonna get bits and pieces as this goes.
Right. And now this isn't the theory that investigators have to stick to when they get to trial, because as
Right.
more evidence accumulates, they're not stuck to this narrative. They have the option to do what they want with the information they get. So that, this could change. What's today? Saturday? This could change Monday. You know what I mean? What's today? We're back to that again.
There's some questions in chat about where they found blood. As we get deeper into the affidavit, there's a list of every single place they found blood. So we'll get to that in a few minutes.
All right. So this basically says all she did was look at her phone, and on the day of January 27th, she just randomly forgot her phone.
Randomly.
Yeah, it just happened.
Someone who spends an average of 10 hours a day on her phone accidentally forgets it. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, Jane.
Right. So, from Gannon's phone, a text went to Harley that said that Leticia left her cell phone at the residence on that morning. She forgot her phone. So, Jesus, I'm trying to make sure some of these,
this paragraph is interesting. 39. When they were out and about, right, Al sent a text to Gannon's phone, right, at about noon that said, "Hey, buddy." And then Gannon answered it about 2 hours later. Oh, no, 1 hour later, hour and a half later, and said, "Can I play Zelda at least?" Obviously referring to a video game. And Al said, "Not today." Now, that doesn't seem like a really big deal, but my big question is, if Leticia is the stepmom and she's taking care of him and all this stuff that she always bragged about how great of a stepmom she was, why would he have to bother his father while he's at a National Guard training event to ask if he can play a video game?
And here's another thing to consider. That is not a natural conversation.
No,
you did not say, "Hey, buddy," and then he spouts off a couple hours later with, "Can I play Zelda at least?" The problem I have with that is the "at least," because I feel like there's something missing in there where they, he's 11. He's trying to negotiate. How can I play my video game today, even though I stayed home from school? Regardless of the strange circumstance that this led to, every kid does that when on a sick day. They start feeling better in the afternoon. They're like, "Ooh, I'm ready to party," and you're like, pump your brakes. So I feel like that there's stuff missing in that conversation.
Yep. For some reason, he was banned from video games for the day. Who made that decision? Leticia? And was he trying to barter with Al to circumvent that, or what's going on here?
But if it just said, "Can I play Zelda?" it wouldn't bother me. But it's that "at least." Like there was something in between there. I just feel like there was something in between there.
Yep.
Hey, Travis. So, all right, let's go back here. Number 40. A significant event occurred on Gannon's phone at or around, what is that? 12:03.
1:43.
What is that? Around 1:45, which is prior to arriving back at the residence. There's an internet search for, "Can my parent find my cell phone if it's off?" I submit that this internet search was likely conducted by Leticia on Gannon's phone and not Gannon himself, based upon the content of the search, the way the search terms are phrased, and the presence of a period in between the phone and "if." This is very similar to the way Leticia conducted searches on her phone.
Yeah, remember that was only 10 minutes or so after Gannon asked if he could play Zelda. So how did that go down? Was he texting his dad and she said, "Give me your phone," and then she searched, "Can my parent find my phone myself if it's off?" I mean, that's so weird. That whole I want to see a video of that 20-minute thing and see what actually happened there.
Right. I would like to read the entire conversation, because if that's the entire text exchange,
there's got to be more.
Right. And then that's the Google search. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
Yep.
I want to see more. Let's see. Then they point out that parent was singular. And not to take Leticia's side, but her English, she did not speak. She often made, grammatical errors. We'll just go with that. Let me just be nice about it.
Okay, this, for those of you asking, this is a Nintendo Switch. It is a handheld video game system.
There you go.
That all the kids have. Some of us adults have them too. But yeah, this is a Nintendo Switch. This is what he wanted to play. And this is what she wanted to know if Nintendo could track it, if there's any sort of tracking capability in this device. It is a wired device. It is online. So, it stands to reason maybe it's traceable, but apparently it's not according to Nintendo. So that's what that discussion was all about.
Yes, T. So we are talking about a woman who was arrested for first-degree murder of her 11-year-old stepson. Apparently, she injured and murdered him in Colorado, and nearly, 6 weeks? About 5 to 6 weeks later, he was found in Florida on the side of a road. So, there's a lot in between that, but that's the beginning and the end, and it doesn't go together very well at all. So I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's just there's a lot in between there, but I'm happy to answer all your questions, T. Anytime, buddy. Okay. So let's see where, Leticia didn't turn on her phone for nearly 25 minutes after arriving back at the residence. And during that time, there was motion activity both upstairs and downstairs, according to the security records. Lena stated that when she returned home, Leticia told her Gannon was asleep in her bed and that she could not see him. Leticia told Lena to go outside and play. I submit that Lena was sent outside because Landon was likely already not with us, and Leticia was cleaning up blood from inside the home. Jeez Louise. At about 4 o'clock, Al sent another message to Gannon and said, "Hey, buddy, this message was not read until around 7:40. It is likely that Gannon was already not with us and at the time that Al sent the message. Based on security footage, was that Harley arrived home at around 4:45 and picked up Lena.
But dropped off some items that Leticia requested. Carpet cleaner, trash bags, baking soda, vinegar. Yeah.
No.
That's not suspicious at all.
No, T. She is not innocent and got away with this. She was arrested on March 2nd? That sounds about right. She was okay. So T, this crime happened in Colorado. They found him in Florida, but arrested her in South Carolina. But she is currently incarcerated in Colorado. And mind you, T, on her trip from South Carolina to Colorado, she slipped out of her cuffs and attacked a guard on the road. This woman is off her
damn not smart. Not smart. Not at all.
No. So back to where were we? So she picked up Lena, and just 10 minutes later, Leticia sent her a text asking carpet cleaner, trash soda. These items were likely used to clean up the scene. Harley purchased these items, and the investigators were able to find a receipt. Harley had refused to speak with 2 investigators. Investigators do not believe that Harley was present. She was at work from 8:30 until 4:15, and they verified that. To be clear, investigators have not located any evidence that any person other than Lena and Leticia had access to Gannon between 10 o'clock in the morning and around 5:35 on the 27th. Oh my God. Yeah. It's you know what?
Regina, I agree with you.
they're on the way of pushing that out in Colorado. And I'm like, oh my God, please sign some sort of executive order that it can apply to her. I mean, I'm not much for, I don't think I could ever be on a jury of a death penalty case because I don't think I could make that decision myself, like actually be in the room. But I got to tell you, I sure as hell wouldn't mind if this broad fried. I mean, that's what I'm saying, Travis. Like, I don't mean to be like, a hellion.
Unfortunately, they can't charge her in Florida because the murder occurred in Colorado. So,
Right.
there's nothing they could do, even though that might have been the best situation. I'm sure if they thought for a second that she killed him in Florida, she would have been charged there because they're pretty heavy-handed with the death penalty there. But, Hi, Paula. How are you? Yeah, this is one case, like Denise was just saying, about the death penalty. I'm generally against the death penalty, but if I was on the jury, I could vote for the death penalty in this case. And I don't think I've ever said that. Maybe Tim Jones Jr. Yeah, maybe him. But it takes something that bad for me to be like, yeah, okay, I'm on board. Let's do it. So that's where we're at with this case.
I know. Hey, Paula. Yeah, she's innocent until proven guilty, but she is guilty, so her time will come. I mean, but you don't ever want to say slam dunk case. Ever, ever, ever. Never, ever, because Casey Anthony, you're saying Casey Anthony, crazy stuff could go down at any second.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Investigators respond to the home. She gave verbal consent for them to search the house for Gannon. Wow, they didn't show up at the house until about 3 hours after she called 911.
Yep. And they didn't find the blood on that first visit, I don't think.
No, it says the Tiguan was backed into the garage at the residence. Can you read that real quick?
Yep. Paragraph 52.
Sorry.
All right. From the BWC, they learned that the Volkswagen Tiguan, known to be leased and utilized by Leticia, was backed into the garage where the El Paso Sheriff's Office was at the residence. It was backed in the garage when they were there, it said. The position of the Tiguan in the garage is significant, specifically because the confirmed presence of Gannon's blood in the garage below the area where the rear hatch of the Tiguan would be, and the positive reaction of Blue Star, which is like luminol, on the Tiguan's rear bumper. All right, so this doesn't say when they discovered that, but they did find that his blood was on the rear bumper of that vehicle, which is Leticia's SUV. So, and responding deputies, they did search Gannon's basement bedroom, and images of the bedroom were taken, and below some of the images are there, but you can't really make out what's in them. They're very, very dark. But it kind of shows the position of the bed. Now, this part gets a little significant.
Hold on.
The images. All right, it shows on the right image. It shows, and these images were taken from Leticia's cell phone, right? These aren't the images that the police took when they were there. And why was she taking pictures of his bedroom on the 27th?
The one on the left is from El Paso County. The one on the right is the one she took that morning.
Why did she take that morning? That's very, very strange. But what it shows later is that the bed had been moved. That's why. I mean, obviously we know why, because it was hiding the blood stains and all that. But,
Oh, okay, sorry. I got a touch cuff. Yeah, the whole thing is odd. Like, I don't
Right, so
even Al said it was unusual. Oh.
The picture she took of Gannon's bed in the morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, and their snapshot from that evening, 11 o'clock that night, or midnight that night, something like that. It shows that the placement of Gannon's bed is in the immediate location where his blood, based on the DNA profile results, was found on the wall, the carpet, and the concrete below the carpet. These details are discussed below, and a large volume of blood appears to have been in that area. Now, this part is interesting. For the purposes of comparison between the images, it appears that although the sheet may or may not be the same, the blankets are different, the pillowcase, if not the whole pillow, is different. And I submit that a logical explanation for the missing bedding is that they were likely saturated in blood after Gannon's murder and were removed by Leticia to clean up the murder scene. Because we know that she tried very hard to clean up this murder scene. She just didn't do a good job, thankfully, because they were able to find...
I don't think she cared. And like Sean just said in chat, I don't think we'll ever get to know why we lost Gannon. I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think she gives a shit. I just don't. I think she just does what she wants when she wants, and we all know she's impulsive. I mean, we've all seen it on social media. I mean, I don't think she cares. I just don't.
And like what Linda just said, there is never a reason for this kind of thing. There's nothing that any murderer like this can tell you to make you understand why they did it, because it's not a logical thing. It's not a normal emotional response. There's something pathological about it, and there is no explanation other than she's evil and did something evil. So we'll never really understand these murderers, even though that's why we do this, because we want to understand them. But we're chasing a lost cause, really.
You know what, T? There are some Google searches coming up that you're right on track with what she was thinking. You've already cracked this crazy broad. I mean, she's so transparent, but she thinks she's so sneaky. Like, it's just, Now, this gets into the cars, and this gets confusing because there's a different car every damn day.
Yep.
Let's see. On the morning of January 28th, she rented the 2019 Kia from Avis in Colorado Springs. She picked up Al at Colorado Springs Airport around 8:50. Shortly after, then she rented the car. So Leticia and Al drove back to the residence drove from the airport back to the house in the rented Kia. That's what makes me think. I mean, that just furthers my opinion, my theory that Gannon was in the trunk of her car.
Yep.
And she left him at the airport, and then she did all.
Yeah. And then later on, when she went back to the airport at approximately 7 p.m. on the 28th, she got her car back and then drove out to the highway and dumped him on the side of the road. Right. Is what they're alleging.
Mm-hmm. And I've kind of thought that I don't want to say all along, but it is something that I've strongly considered. Yeah, so she picked up her car at 7:00 p.m. on January 28th. So the following evening. And she said she was concerned about putting mileage on her lease, which justified the vehicle rental. It is noted, however, that during the time of the Kia rental, Leticia only put about 71 miles on that vehicle. Now, that is a vehicle that they originally said she put 900 and something miles on. Somehow that was distorted. They screwed up, and that caused everybody to think, where the hell did she go?
Right.
Like, what did she do? But 71 miles, to me, says she was driving around looking for anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know. During the time period Leticia had the Kia, she would not provide the location of her car, and Al never saw her car. That is not good.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Between the investigators and Al, they, did a small search and produced negative results of her car. They were looking for her car, They later learned that she left the vehicle in short-term parking of Colorado Springs Airport, but removed the vehicle January 28th. The Kia Rio was returned on the morning of January 29th. Now, early on, they seized that rental car, that white one. They seized that pretty early on.
Yeah.
Linda, there was blood found on the back of her actual car.
Right.
Right? Okay. Yep. All these damn cars. I mean, what the hell?
None was found in Al's red truck. There was some found in her car. her Tiguan. There was some found in the Kia in the trunk, but it was not traceable to anyone connected with this case, and they believe that was from someone else who had rented the car long ago.
Right.
So that's
And
that's
what you guys-
recorded, but not.
Yeah, that's what you guys see on your screen now.
Yep.
They were unable to recover any GPS data or location history for the Rio, which sucks. Number 65 just sucks that they weren't able to figure out where that car went, although it was only 71 miles. Like, where the hell did she go? Now, it does say right off the bat in the header that her car is significant. Let me make sure this is all on the screen. Yes. Okay. Yes. And on the inside. Okay.
Yeah, we're getting to the blood stuff. They list there's a lot of blood found in a lot of places, so we'll go over that as soon as we get there. Hang in there, man. We're almost there.
I know. There's so much in this. It's like, what's next? Her car is significant because they believe it was her car that they used to train. Hey, my camera's not on. At least my mic is on. What? Where was I? Oh, it's important because they believe it was used to transport Gannon from the residence to where he was left. The definitive locations are unknown to investigators between the period of like the evening of January 28th till around midnight of the 29th. Investigators believe that she left Gannon's remains on the evening of the 28th and utilized her car to do so. And it was seized from her on January 29th. Oh, this is when we really get to see her go batshit crazy. I was trying to read ahead. So she had a scheduled interview with investigators. Instead of going straight there, she decides to hit up the car wash on the way in. As if that's not a huge red flag, like it says video footage was recovered that shows a partial view of a car wash located in Colorado Springs. The video captured a portion of a black SUV consistent with her car at around 11:30 on the 29th. That time and location are consistent with raw data obtained from her car's computer system, described in more detail below. So they got a search warrant for her car. On or around February 21st, the evidence response team conducted a search of her car. In summary, the forensic portion of the search revealed possible traces of blood on the rear of the vehicle, a rear passenger seat, front passenger seat, and an area near the glove box based on luminol forensic latent blood stain reagent tests. Swabs from the trunk area were sent to Metrocrime Lab for further analysis. These results revealed the DNA profile could not be developed and that the swab from the trunk was negative for the presumptive presence of blood. To be clear, they tell you what luminol is and how it works. Several areas of her car reacted to the luminol. Specifically, the search team found evidence of suspected blood on the rear bumper and a step plate of the rear bumper. The location of the blood is significant because this vehicle was backed into the garage at their home on the day that they suspect Gannon passed away. The search of the residence is discussed below, but it is noted that evidence of Gannon's blood was also located on the floor of the garage, consistent with where the rear of her car would have been. And then this picture is supposed to show us what luminol does, but we're not going to get it. We're not going to see that right now, which I'm kind of okay with.
There's one question I have about that. Was her car backed into the garage regularly? Is this normal happen? Did she move it in there that morning? Because we don't see it when we see the video of the red truck leaving. We don't see it in the driveway. Did she put it there on purpose, knowing she was going to need to get him into the back of it later on? Hopefully we'll discover that at trial, but that would be one question I would like to ask her,
No, T. Gannon's dad, Al, had no part in this, and Gannon's biological mother had no part in this. This was all Leticia. That's crazy bad. Then they go on to say they found the receipt of the items that Leticia sent Harley to buy. And again, Harley is her 17-year-old daughter. Harley will be 18 May 1st, I believe. So very soon. Also included in this purchase was baby oil, baby lotion, cotton rounds, bubble gum, stuff that a teenager and what is Lena 8 would buy. You're just random crap. Just random. We're at the dollar store. Oh, look, it's $1. They go on to talk about the cleaning items that are typical for certain things. Okay, so now we're back to the cars, which this is when you need the board with the red string and trying to figure out what went where and who. These cars are a nightmare. Also located was a parking receipt for the airport that documented that her car was brought into the airport's short-term parking lot at around 8:30 and left on the lot at about 7:02, both on January 28th of 2020. Yeah, because that's the day that she got out. I was trying to put dates together. So on January 29th, she returned the Kia at approximately 9 in the morning and was picked up by someone driving the white Jetta. Now, the white Jetta is Harley's, daily driver. And investigators were unable to confirm that Harley was driving the car, but it is her primary vehicle, and her historical cell site location put her in that area. So they believe that Harley picked her up from the airport. So again, she's leaving her car at the airport. Now, I wanted all along to believe that Harley didn't know.
Right.
Harley knows something.
Like Harley must have known something.
She knows something. And that is a horrific position for a 17-year-old to be in.
And as of the date of this affidavit, Harley had not agreed to sit for an interview, and she was not cooperating.
No, he was not having an affair. We'll get into her Google searches. It's getting ready to come up here very soon. But he's in the military, so he is gone quite a bit. And so she became resentful of all the responsibility she had to take on for the household and what she later refers to as his kids. So she was very resentful of Gannon and Lena, it seems. And I don't know, but there's no evidence that I've ever seen that Al was doing anything other than his job in the military.
Yep.
Okay. Investigators were able to download electronic data from her car. So that'll come up, and what did it say? Paragraph 152. They were able to determine some of the locations on the evening of the 28th, including its location in the area of Highway 105 and South Perry Park Road in Douglas County, Colorado, which is where some things were found. Investigators also served a search warrant to AT&T related. It's like we have GM products. So what's it called? We have OnStar. So I guess folks, CarNet feature. There it is, right here in front of me. What the hell? That would give them an estimated location of the car. The data revealed that during the evening of the 28th, her car was generally in the greater northwest portion of Colorado Springs and likely also in the area north of the Air Force Academy in southern Douglas County. I submit that during this period, investigators believe that Letecia disposed of Gannon. Of note, during that same time, Harley's cell phone is connected to a tower that would service their home over approximately 30 miles from Leticia's suspected location. There was activities on Harley's phone during that time, and investigators do not believe Harley was with Leticia at that moment. However, at approximately 10:30, Harley's cell phone leaves the Stauch residence and goes to the area of Powers and Carefree, where investigators suspect she picked Leticia up. So she just uses Harley for this whole thing. She just snags her for the whole thing, and I can't. That part pisses me off too. Like, the entire family is a victim, but Harley is a damn victim too. Like, Harley just got put in everything.
Right. She willingly put Harley in harm's way.
Absolutely. Loria, when did you get here? I didn't even see you come in. Sometimes this chat on StreamYard is weird. I have it on my phone. I have my chat on my phone because this is odd sometimes. And because we're reading this, I'm not ignoring everyone in chat. It's just trying to go back and forth. So they're saying that they don't believe Harley was with her, but she clearly used Harley as basically her Uber. You know, like, here, fetch, you know, come get me. Poor me. Now the next part.
They lived in Colorado too.
They lived in Colorado Springs, T. We have no idea, T. We have no idea how she decided to take him to Florida. No idea. So in the next part, she tells the craziest stories to investigators. And if we thought what we saw of the snippets of her social media, like meltdown, these stories they're not funny. I don't mean it to be like that, but I laugh because it's
ridiculous.
Like, who the hell would think of this with all, you know, this child is missing and you already know what you've done to him, but these are the stories that you're coming up with. I mean, you're just hurting to make people think that you're nuts. Okay. Okay. So as mentioned above, she came voluntarily. She went in voluntarily after getting her car washed to El Paso County for an interview, but only after she was evasive and avoided speaking with investigators one-on-one. Her video was audio and video recorded, which, sidebar, when this case is concluded, I cannot wait to see those. And just know, like, reading the little snippets of these stories that they say she told, and the way we know she babbles and exaggerates and says all these weird things, I would just love to see them in their entirety. I can't imagine. And the below information includes her own statements as well as investigation geared towards corroborating those statements. In general, her statements are reasonably categorized as untruthful, incomplete, and misleading. Again, a long paragraph, a big fat liar, just like we had before.
Yep.
So she at 10 a.m., she arrives at noon after getting the car wash. She did not want the investigators coming to her home and was difficult at best to track down. So apparently they were clearly they were having a hard time keeping track on her. I mean, she had a new car every 2 minutes. She wouldn't even drive the rental car. She would make Harley come get her and leave cars. So that just leads you to assume that later on, Harley or somebody else had to drive her back. I can't. I don't know. Now this one I find interesting. She brought several pieces of notebook paper that contained notes she had written down. During the interview, she referred to these pieces of paper and asked investigators if she could just read her notes. Investigators were not able to seize these documents, which sucks. I have conducted hundreds of interviews of subjects, victims, and witnesses. It is extremely rare for an individual to bring notes to an interview.
Unless they're trying to remember a story.
She's showing up with her resume. Like, what do you mean you... Okay. Okay. You can start these because this is too much. I just can't. Because they're not funny, but it's just like, you're right, Kayla. Those videos are going to be insane. Just insane. Like we heard from Dad with the phone, that random phone call she did with that woman in Indiana. And that was like, what, a 45-minute call? And she babbled the whole time, like all over the map. So you imagine that they had to get their magic decoder rings out to even make a paragraph of the craziness that came out of her mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you come up with cliff notes for her? I just feel for that person. I really, really do.
Now, her story, one of the stories she gave is very interesting because she points the finger at some imaginary person. And it states in the affidavit that Leticia drastically departed from her initial statements given to EPSO deputies regarding the report of Gannon's disappearance. In summary, Leticia said that she had been held at gunpoint and raped by an Hispanic male that she knew as Eduardo, and that Gannon was abducted by that male after he finished raping her. The interviewing detectives believed her statements were false based on prior experience investigating sexual assault cases. Leticia said that she arrived home around 2:30, January 27th, and she disarmed her security system, then went into the basement. She said that Eduardo was in the basement, attacked her, and pointed a gun at her. She said that after Eduardo held her at gunpoint, he allowed her to go upstairs to greet her stepdaughter, Lena Stauch, who has just arrived home from school. Leticia said that she sent her outside to ride her bike and then returned to the basement, where Eduardo vaginally penetrated her against her will between 15:30 and 16:30 hours. During this period, she believed that she had hit her head and may have blacked out. Investigators noted no injuries on Leticia's head during their contact with her. And Leticia also said that during the attack, Gannon jumped on Eduardo's back and that Eduardo was able to throw Gannon off his back and across the room. After Eduardo had finished, he had the gun held to Gannon and demanded a suitcase. That's important. Leticia provided him with a brown suitcase.
All this batshit crazy thing right there, suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
There's the truth in that statement.
Yep, as we've all said, there's always a little bit of truth in her stories. The suitcase was a true fact. Right, he was discovered in a suitcase in Florida. So Leticia provided him with the brown suitcase in a cardboard box, and Eduardo attempted to sexually assault her again, but she hit her head and blacked out again. So, man, it's too much. It is too much crazy.
So the suitcase came into the story very quickly because this is the 29th. So by the 29th, I have to, it plants the seed by the 29th, he was already in the suitcase. Yeah. That's what it plants the seed for me. Her ridiculous story of Eduardo coming to get her, appearing out of the basement is just, I mean, I have to wonder, does she hallucinate? Does she? I don't understand. I mean, Aiden is 4 and he's starting to have these really, everything, all of his stories that he tells us, he said he had a dream about, but he's 4 and she is 35 years old. And I mean, Jesus, hell, I don't understand it. But the suitcase thing,
But even her story in this where he says, well, he let me go upstairs to get Lena because she got home from school. And then I sent her outside. And then I went back down to the basement. Really? You didn't call 911? You didn't grab Lena and run? Really? All right. Sure, that makes sense. It's just, it's so stupid.
And then she goes on to say she cleaned up the area where the alleged attack happened. She straightened up signs of disturbances in Gannon's room and cleaned up the utility room.
After he had kidnapped Gannon, she stopped cleaning it all up before calling the police. Okay, sure.
Investigators, they didn't have anything other to go on. So, of course, they tried to corroborate it. And eventually they just said no. Of all of the security in that area, they never saw a Hispanic male enter the home. But they did see Lena arrive home on the school bus that afternoon. Furthermore, our girl Leticia was offered to have a sexual assault exam to see what on her, make sure she was okay. She did not want to have the exam completed when given the opportunity to provide investigators with evidence that would possibly identify Eduardo, she refused to cooperate. She met him on the 26th, the day prior to Gannon's murder. She generally described a Hispanic male with brown hair and brown eyes, but could not provide any specific identifying information. She told investigators that Gannon had knocked over a candle on Sunday, causing the carpet to burn. Now, this is that video that she accidentally took and accidentally posted online for all of us to see and hear. After that incident, she drove around the neighborhood where residential construction was taking place. I'm gonna comment on this in a second when I get done reading this. Eduardo, who was working on a house, and she asked if he could repair the carpet. He agreed, and she provided him the garage door code, and they agreed he would repair the carpet while she was shopping the next day. Now, here's what I have to say about that. Apparently, based on the time, or based on what we could figure out, I believe from what was on the news, that happened, the candle thing of the video happened at least after 10 p.m. on Sunday night. So she is saying now that around midnight, she hops in her car and drives around looking for guys working on construction sites to come to her house the following morning. No, you did not. Like, don't even try. Like that part makes 0 sense. 0. And at that time, of course, nobody had seen that video she released, so they didn't have it. Again, they didn't have anything else to go on. But now knowing what we know, and you can put it back into that, absolutely not. Absolutely not that she drive around midnight looking for somebody to repair that carpet.
Yeah, because I have a stain on my carpet. I'm going to drive around the neighborhood and ask random people at midnight to fix it.
Right.
Who doesn't do that?
I mean, I don't know. If I did that out here in the woods, I'd get freaking shot. Let me just tell you. Oh, my God. Yeah, Tish, this broad has an imagination like no other. And that's not her only crazy story. It gets crazier. Like, she has another crazy one, and then she just goes on from there. So they're saying they don't see Eduardo coming in or going, but they did see Lena riding her bike that afternoon. I know from training and experience that when individuals concoct lies, most reasonably to conceal the truth, they oftentimes leave portions of truth within those lies, which about what we've been saying this whole time about her. I submit that the statements Leticia made referencing Lena and the time period Lena was at the residence are likely true based on video evidence. Her other statements, however, are blatant lies designed to mislead investigators. Like, they had her number from the get-go. And I always found it interesting when they did their daily press conferences, when people would ask questions of them, they would always say, just remember, you're not getting that information from us. Right. And they would never call her by name, but they made it clear that, yeah, we're watching and we know. Like, we know, but, you know. Okay. So then, you know, during this alleged assault, she's texting people.
Yeah.
So, namely her daughter. Yeah. She's texting her daughter during what's supposedly going on with this, which is ridiculous. Oh, yeah. And then also, not only is she texting, but she's running up and down there's people in the basement. There's people upstairs. The security system is just, T said, if we tell him that she blamed an owl, we're out. He's out. Yeah. I'm done. That was the owl. Holy fuck. Don't even. Pardon my French, but I'd be out too, T. Don't worry. So the security system is just blowing this story out of the water, saying, you know, the average number of motion in the basement events for that time of day were around 3.5. On that day, the average number of events in the basement were around 10.5. So they suspect she was going up and down the stairs in order to get cleaning supplies and cleaning up the scene. Towards the end of the interview, Leticia said she wanted to leave. Investigators seized her phone and detained her while they applied for a search warrant to obtain DNA. Leticia began stuffing tissues in her pants and said she was having chest pain and shortness of breath. Investigators immediately requested medical attention and paramedics from the fire department arrived. Leticia had appropriate responses to the paramedics' questions. I am aware that Leticia has made statements regarding Gannon's disappearance to individuals other than law enforcement, including but not limited to her friend, her husband, and the media. Indeed, some of these conversations have been captured and memorialized in recorded phone conversations and email messages. Leticia's stories have continued to evolve and material facts continue to change, including but not limited to the identity of her attacker, the location of Gannon's abduction, and details of her alleged assault. During her statement, she did not deny hurting Gannon and provided explanations as to why there was blood in her car, blood in Gannon's room, and why she was in the area of Palmer Lake. So, as we know, she has an answer for everything. Everything.
Yep.
Right, Miriam. She was saving those tissues for the toilet paper outage.
Right.
So my assumption is that she had used those tissues, with her fake tears, and she thought that they would take them for DNA, as if she's somehow going to win the DNA warrant battle. Like, get the hell out of town.
Yep.
So they take her to the hospital. She was transported to the hospital and accompanied by detectives during the ride. Unlike questions at El Paso County, paramedics during the ambulance ride, she was unresponsive to questions by medical personnel and seemed to have a miraculous recovery when they arrived at the hospital. The ambulance ride was audio recorded. Thank you, God.
Yep.
I just I don't want to say she's funny and she's comical, but it's just like, are you kidding me? She's just, I cannot wait to see this.
Her lies are just mind-blowing. We don't laugh because it's funny. We laugh out of like, what? This can't possibly be real. She can't possibly be this crazy. But she is. She really is.
And it gets crazier. We're about to find out. All right. So she receives medical care at the hospital. The details of that care are not included for medical privacy, HIPAA and whatnot. She did not have any life-threatening issues and signed herself out prior to all of her exams being completed. So she continued evasive behavior at the hospital, but particularly after investigators told her they were going to detain her pending the issuance of her DNA warrant. Ultimately, the search warrant for the collection was signed and executed. A second warrant for the sexual assault exam was also initially authorized by the court, but then quashed by the court. To be clear, she did not allow the assault exam to be completed. She was not in custody after the warrant was executed at the hospital and left the hospital without telling investigators. She also made a phone call from the waiting room at the hospital. There was physical surveillance being conducted by law enforcement in the area, and investigators learned that she was picked up by an unknown person at the hospital and was reunited with her daughter several miles from the hospital. So again, she's throwing Harley into the mix. But I would love to know who picked her up from the hospital.
Yep.
Because I would love to know the story she told them as to why she was at the hospital. Because I'm sure it's something totally different than what actually went on. Although her behavior was not illegal, I submit that as pressure continued to increase from investigators, she became more and more desperate to leave the hospital, likely because she feared being caught in her lies. She did not want to pursue collecting evidence that might assist law enforcement in identifying and finding her supposed, assailant. Now this is when they find stuff in Gannon's room. Brooke, you're probably right. And she's going to be the nutty lady who testifies no matter what her lawyers say to her. She will she will testify. I can just see it. If this goes to trial, she will testify because she believes she can talk her way out of it, because she talks in circles so much that you can't follow her, that eventually you're like, whew, whatever, you know. And the jury's not going to buy that, but she thinks they will.
Mm-hmm. Just like Jodi Harris.
It probably was her aunt. That's, I don't know. No, we're just getting into the part about the house, Loria. All right, Awen, you're up.
All right. Number 107. This is where they are actually searching the home. Investigators searched the Stauch residence several times over several weeks after applying for and being granted search warrants from the court. The purpose of these searches was to collect evidence, including biological evidence, in support of the captioned investigation. The forensic searches were conducted by the Colorado Springs Metro Crime Lab. To avoid confusion, the January 28th initial search was authorized by Mr. Stauch, and he provided consent to search the residence. Not all of the evidence recovered is included below. However, the forensic testing results of several items, including a pair of size 8.5 Nike shoes, are discussed in paragraph 126. Gannon's remaining family members were living in the residence during the period of these searches, and investigators did not initially seal the residence off. Crime scene analysts from the Colorado Springs Metro Crime Lab responded to the residence and found traces of blood throughout the residence based on Blue Star forensic latent blood stain reagent tests. That's luminol. There was visible blood in Gannon's room, in the garage, and other portions of the house. The Blue Star forensic stain has similar limitations to luminol, yada yada. We know that. By way of the background, the residence located is a ranch home, blah, 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 blah. The Blue Star was applied to Gannon's bedroom, the hallway leading to the utility room from his bedroom, the utility room itself, the staircase and landing leading upstairs from the utility room, the pathway to the garage from the stairs, and the garage itself. In all of these areas, investigators found positive results for the likely presence of blood. There's a photo that we can't really see anything in. Specifically in Gannon's bedroom, in a corner of the room, investigators located an area where suspected blood had seeped through the carpet, through the pad, and stained the concrete. Furthermore, there was also bloodstains and projected blood spatter located on the walls in the room. Over 50 droplets of suspected blood were found on the walls near Gannon's bed. Crime scene investigators also suspected someone attempted to clean the walls based on the way the reagent reacted on the wall. Gannon's mattress was also seized and contains a red stain consistent with blood in the same area as the stain on the carpet and the blood cast off on the walls. The stains on the mattress were swabbed but were not tested with Blue Star. The laboratory results have not yet been returned, but because other blood in the area was determined to be Gannon's blood, investigators suspect that the blood on the mattress is also Gannon's blood. And several crime scene photographs are included, including the wall next to Gannon's bed, the carpet pad that was removed by investigators to expose the concrete below. Based on the orientation of Gannon's bed, the vast majority of blood would be in line with the position of his head and torso and consistent with the stain of the mattress displayed above. I submit that the blood located in Gannon's room appears to have been cleaned up based on residual blood residue on the baseboards, an electrical outlet cover, and the blood that had soaked through the carpet. DNA laboratory testing confirmed that it was indeed Gannon blood, and Gannon's body has not been found, reasonably indicating that this was likely the scene of Gannon's murder. They go on to describe some of the photos a little bit. The blood stains on the wall, they were not able to really tell you the blood stain pattern analysis. Now, this is something that I really get into with crime scenes. They can't tell you if it was cast off, if it was aspirated blood, although they don't believe it was, or if it was, a blood spatter producing event such like a gunshot, blunt force, or stabbing. They cannot determine what the blood spatter on the wall was from because of the texture of the wall, all right, and the cleaning that happened. However, when they're looking at, there's two pictures in the document of the outlet cover. When they removed the outlet cover, they could see an outline of blood around the edges of it where she had tried to clean it but didn't get underneath it. And, that's kind of interesting. So she didn't think that through clearly. There's also a photo showing where they removed the carpet and markings on the walls that show the blood spatter droplets that they could see. And, they found a lot of blood in his room as well as all over the house and the garage. So, yeah, that's bad.
I'm very thankful that we can't see these pictures very well because you already know what they are, but I don't want to really see them.
In that picture up there that you just went by, there's the section of carpet that they removed, and you can see all of the flags that were taped to the walls where all the blood droplets are.
Now, it's also interesting in her first story with Eduardo, which is very similar to, Zanny the nanny. It's just somebody she made up. She does mention a gun in that too. So you just wonder with some of the, I don't want to say, but you know where I'm going with that. I don't know. It's just hard to imagine poor Gannon. Then they found blood and in the utility room. Then in the dishwasher, they found multiple carpet brushes with suspected carpet fibers on them, and the dishwasher appeared to have been run. They believe these brushes were used to clean up the scene. To be clear, no formal testing was completed to confirm the fibers on the brushes were carpet. They also found more cleaning supplies.
And the next line is important.
Exactly. El Paso deputies that responded to the Stauch home on the 27th did not notice the bloodstains in Gannon's room, and it should be noted that the initial report was that Gannon had left the home and had not returned. As additional information was developed, more forensic searches of Gannon's room were conducted, which revealed the aforementioned evidence. These were small traces of blood found in the depressions of the drywall and paint texture that Leticia failed to remove when she cleaned the scene. So we do have to remember that on the 27th, he was listed as a runaway. And again, like we read earlier, they didn't even arrive for 3 hours. They did not see this as an urgent thing. He went to a friend's house. They assume, he got in a fight with his stepmom and he was like, I'm not going home. And now it's dark and he's scared to walk home in the dark. I'm sure these scenarios are running through their minds. We have to remember that she reported him as just not coming home from his friend's house.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how this all started.
Yeah, it's important to remember, as they point out in this affidavit, that the address where they lived was a new construction build, and they were the only family to have ever lived there. So it's not like this was blood from some other people who lived there before them. It wasn't.
Exactly. This goes into the crime lab, and they talk about DNA samples that they took from everybody and where they took samples from. Carpet in the utility room. We couldn't get a DNA profile. In the garage, the major profile matches Gannon. Under where her car was parked, the major profile to that is Gannon. Again, under her car. The blood stains in Gannon's room were Gannon. Again, more blood of Gannon's in his room. The electrical outlet was Gannon. More carpet was Gannon. It just goes on and on and on. Now, the shoes I assume she was wearing that day, a DNA profile was obtained after swabbing a confirmed blood stain on the outsole of what's believed to be, for us, Leticia's shoe, and was found to match the DNA profile of Gannon. Furthermore, DNA profile was obtained from the inside of the shoe, and that was Leticia's. So a mixture of their DNA. So Travis, when he was located, he's located in Florida, and they had no idea who he was. So they did an autopsy there and were able to develop a DNA profile, and that's how they figured out he was a missing child from Colorado. Now, her new charges do give her 2 charges that include what we can assume was a knife, 2 charges that we can assume were a blunt force object, and 2 charges of use of a firearm. So whatever injuries they saw on him in Florida
resulted in the new charges. Yeah.
Yeah, the day they found him in Florida, those new charges were filed. So
they did not discuss the nature of the injuries.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it is so sad. It is horrible.
I will be right back.
No problem. Okay. This is where they start going into cell phone towers. The historical cell site analysis identified unusual activity for Leticia, including potentially disconnecting her cell phone from the network for several hours. I submit that disconnecting the phone, she intended to prevent law enforcement from being able to determine her location. Specifically, this occurred on January 28th of 2020, during the evening that they suspect she disposed of Ganem. Let's see. They were able to get all sorts of information from her phone. In summary, investigators learned that Leticia lied to her employer, her husband, her friends, her daughter, and the children's babysitter. I will not include each and every text message or lie, which I can imagine if they had to do that in this could be thousands of pages. As discussed in other portions of this affidavit, Leticia's story was false and misleading, and these messages were likely sent by her as part of a larger plan to support her initial lies about his disappearance. For example, on the 28th, she had on the 28th at around 5:15 in the morning, she had a conversation with the babysitter. There's no indication that Gannon even went to a doctor, and Leticia never brought that up with investigators. Some, but not all, of the conversation is below. Let's see. This is hard to read. God bless. So she's telling the babysitter this happened after 3:30. We talked to him and told him to be home by 6. The sitter asked. Someone said he wasn't he wasn't at school. Leticia responds that he had to go to the doctor for his stomach, but he was here in the afternoon. Where did he say he was at? And then Leticia finishes up with, honestly, I don't keep up with his friends. He's 11.
Yep.
Namely, his social circle is likely very small because the friends' houses he can go to, he has to literally be able to ride his bike, without being driven there. So you kind of know, you get to know the kids in the neighborhood pretty easily. So I just can't believe her. I just can't. And then this one, Leticia made statements to investigators via text that could be considered exculpatory in nature related to the presence of blood in the basement of the residence. I have talked with investigators that were inside the Stauch residence between the 27th and the 29th. There was no odor of smoke and no evidence of smoke. In fact, one detective noted the basement smelled like coconut and was very pleasant. Furthermore, I know that burns oftentimes do not produce wounds that bleed profusely. So her claims about this massive fire from a candle, which I've always doubted from the beginning, because if this candle is like up and running, as soon as you tip it, the wax is going to put out the flame. Now the wax is going to be a bitch to get out of the carpet. That's no joke, but it's not going to go up in flames. I've never bought that. I don't know. So she sends this, she sends this to the landlord. When we came back inside from the smoke, there was blood on both of us. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. I would get fussed out about it, and I didn't know if he should go to the doctor. I kept trying to add the candle thing, but Albert kept saying it was small and minor. I was scared the basement was smoky, and when I threw the covers on everything, we both had blood.
Yeah.
And then her next thing is, not even, just a few seconds later, you don't understand how hard it is to be a stepmom. What does that have to do with a damn candle?
Now remember that Remember the video that she released herself that she took that night, allegedly, talking to Gannon about this, right? That was a very creepy video. And now when you hear all of this, you're like, what on earth happened?
Right.
None of it makes sense, you know? So, yeah.
Sorry, I'm making a note about something I want to look into. So then, and then of course we have the text that where she asked Harley to pick up the cleaning products. Investigators recovered limited GPS and location from her phone. There are crucial time periods, such as the evening of the 28th, that investigators were not able to recover location history because she had disconnected the phone, likely turned it off. She stored several written notes in her phone. The majority of these notes contain what appear to be usernames, passwords, and insurance information. And there were several notes that appeared to reference her unhappiness in the relationship and shed some light on potential household instability. All right. And this part goes on to talk about how some of her internet activity. So in the days leading up to when this happened, so between the dates of the 25th and 28th specifically, Leticia viewed websites associated with searching for a job in states other than Colorado, such as LA, Orlando, Pensacola Beach, and Fort Lauderdale. Leticia also viewed apartments and 2-bedroom rental homes in Florida. Additionally, she visited a moving cost calculator website.
So before Gannon was even missing, and now we know murdered, she was looking about how to get out of there and where to move to. So that, to me, plays into the whole premeditated nature of this event.
Right. And then it goes on to say she was searching for a rental car, which they believe that's the rental car that she picked up on the morning she picked up Al. Not all of her Google searches are included below. I submit that her search history is important because the history suggests she might have been struggling as a step-parent, and additionally suggests she was not happily married to Al. While her history alone does not provide motive to murder Gannon, it does shed light on her inquisitive thoughts of her position with the family, memorialized in Google's search engine. They go on to say instead of the space bar, she always hits the period, which we saw in one of the things that were searched on Gannon's phone, which is what leads them to believe she did it. That's basically what that says. Now, okay.
The good part.
So this starts on the 25th at noonish. So you want to go over some of these?
Sure. These are some of the things that Leticia Googled. All right. On January 25th, find real military singles. Also on the 25th, parenting should be 4 people, not 1. On the 25th, I'm overdoing all the work for my stepkids and their mom doesn't help. On the 25th, mom advice from stepmom. Also on the 25th, if you aren't involved in your kid's life, you are shitty. Next, my husband's ex-wife does nothing for her kids. And next, I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a card since I raise her kids.
So she wants a Valentine's Day card from Landon.
Yeah,
right.
She does. And yeah, she Googled twice after that. I wonder if my husband's ex-wife is sending me a Valentine's card since I raise her kids. Because she had to Google that 3 times to see, because whatever. And one day, some people will wish they treated you differently. That was Googled twice. Why should my husband choose me over family? Find me a rich guy who wants me to take care of his kids. What? Find a guy who wants me to take care of his kids and get paid. It's crappy. Some parents don't care for their kids or buy them presents. Parents are those who put their kids before their nails. Does that say nails? It looks like nails to me.
So it sounds like they had a conversation it sounds like Landon had the opportunity to get her nails done, but Leticia didn't. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah. Then my son burned the carpet. How do I fix it? And that was on the 27th at noon. So, oh no, midnight, 12:09 a.m.
Exactly. So that confirms that she's looking for Eduardo after midnight.
Yep. Jeez. Will humidifier help if exposed to smoke?
Good thing Eduardo is nocturnal because, whoo, that would have been a sad situation.
Yep. But that's the 27th. He's already deceased at that point when she's looking for how does she fix the burned carpet. And then will humidifier help if exposed to smoke? What smoke? Smoke effects, will humidifier help? Smoke from fire effects, will humidifier help? Colorado law for kids starting at home. Maybe kids starting fire at home. Was she looking up that? He's already deceased at that point. That is very curious, I think. Or is that the morning? No, that's the morning before. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's 12:55 a.m. So this is the morning right after midnight of the day he will be deceased later on. So, and then school is out. Is it okay for my kid to stay home alone? No, dummy. Son is sick, but I have to go to work. Son's sick. Can he stay home? Suede repair kit for sofa. That's interesting. You know, what happened to the sofa? El Paso Sheriff's Office number. And this was at 6:54 p.m.
Yeah, it was reported at 6:55 finally.
Yeah. So that was when she Googled their number to call. What is the process for our runaway child? Please steps for our runaway. Please steps for our missing child. Today's flight, something to COS. I can't tell what that
looks
says.
Like Oklahoma City to Colorado Springs. So I guess she didn't know what time Al's flight was, is what it looks to me.
Okay, yeah. And then can Nintendo find my Switch? CarNet Volkswagen wanted to see if they could trace her car, maybe.
Yep.
And they are asking for our son's toothbrush, but said nothing is wrong. Who Googles that? Come on, you know? So yeah, just looking at that right there alone, that list of Google searches tells me pretty much all we need to know about what's going on in her head. That's crazy stuff.
And there's more. There is Find Me a New Husband book. I feel like I'm just a nanny, not a stepmom. Husband uses me to babysit his kids. Are there any free money to move away from bad situation? My husband never posts about me, but does everything else. Ugh. So I guess he doesn't post pictures on her of social media. I mean, hell, she runs social media as far as I'm concerned. I mean, she doesn't need any more of her crap out there. My husband only cleans up for the army, not me. I'm just a glorified babysitter. Find a new husband. Sent my husband sexual message and he ignores them. Make my husband want me more. I feel like my husband uses me to babysit his kid. Find a guy without kids.
Yep.
So clearly she resented Gannon and Lena. There's no doubt about it. And it didn't happen overnight. I can't. Yeah, exactly, Brooke. It's the poor me victim searches. Now the military ones I get. Like my husband cleans up for the army and not me, because any military, I do have a few friends that are military wives, and they do everything at home. Everything, because of the commitment, you know what I mean? So the military wife stuff, I'll give her a pass on that. That one makes sense. But when you group it with all this crap, that's just totally overshadowed and doesn't even deserve to be put, you know, in the military family at all. You know, because you can't go from my husband only cleans up for the army and not me to find a guy without kids.
Right.
I mean, that's a big jump. And right, Sean, that resentment does build up over time. This wasn't new. And they've not been married that long. Not at all. I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it. So they go on to say that during the first day or two surrounding the disappearance of a child, it is reasonable that a parent would, look, would they participate fully in trying to find this child? In those first couple of days, she rented a vehicle, turned her cell phone off for approximately 4 hours on the evening of the 28th, got her car washed before coming to her interview, evaded law enforcement's attempt to conduct a more in-depth interview, and did not participate in the search for Gannon.
Until there was a reporter there and she wanted to make a statement.
Right. Yeah. Now, on Tuesday morning, via text message, again, she tells Harley, pull your car into the garage. To be clear, Harley has her own vehicle that was mentioned above, specifically the Jetta. They asked for the toothbrush, and she kind of flips her shit and texts Al, something isn't right. I think they're hiding something. Who, the police? And she's like, yeah, they asked for toothbrushes. And he's like, what do you think they're hiding? Like, what would they be hiding if they're asking for toothbrushes? Like, she's nuts. Hey, Beth, how are you? She's just nuts. Leticia believes she was a subject in his disappearance without any prior prompting from law enforcement or notification. This is what she texts to authorities the night that they believe, right after they believe she had disposed of Gannon in some manner. So on the 28th, 10:45, she texts this to law enforcement. What do you want from me? Because I have nothing. One of your very own leaked to me what you guys were doing. I did nothing, and or I'm being set up. I'm not even really sure, other than being told that another blew with El Paso. I was told I couldn't go home to sleep, and on top of that, men were sent to a home with a minor female, and she was forced to stay there, not to even leave for food. Every conversation that said, even at this moment, I can hear inside, what do you want from me? And the response was, come and talk to me. I would just like information to find Gannon. So that big rambling mess is after they suspect she... Oh, thanks, Beth. Thank you for being here. So she's texting the investigators crazy crap too, just like immediately. And if in fact she did that at that time, which obviously would be timestamped, and that's the time they believe that she did something with him. That is horrific. Like, she goes and does that, meets up with Harley, then goes home and texts investigators. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. It's very crazy behavior, and it shows the level of dysfunction that she's dealing with, and how the police are going to get a straight answer out of her. I don't think they ever will. So I hope it goes to trial, because we need to see that.
Yeah,
we need to see this. Mariah asked a question. So do we know what the 955 miles of her driving and how Gannon was transported to Florida? We do not know that. The only thing in this document is that there were 71 miles put on one of the rental cars. They don't list the mileage of the other car, so we don't know. We don't know how he was transported to Florida yet. And remember, this document was the probable cause affidavit that they submitted to the court to secure an arrest warrant for her month and a half or so before they found Gannon. So at this point, they think he was killed.
I believe she was arrested on March 2nd. And they found
2 weeks.
They found Gannon on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, so about 2 weeks before. But they didn't know where he was or anything, or even that he was in Florida at the time of this document. So we still don't know that information. It may be in later documents. Hopefully we'll find out.
IT, I'm so glad you came. I miss you so much. Yeah. The probable cause, I don't know how they're gonna, like, when you add charges as you go, how that's going to affect. But there's more. They have to know more information in order to go ahead and charge her with those things, and that's going to be broke down somewhere. But with the lack of court proceedings going on at this time. I'm not sure that big stuff's going to go down, that we're going to find out anything, remotely. Hey, Paula, how are you?
Hi again,
Mariah,
Paula.
I've not heard a word about Harley.
No, the only thing we know from the affidavit about Harley is that she is not, at the time of this writing, cooperating with the investigation at all. So that's all they really said about her.
But I feel like in order to get all this information, the only person that could have really talked is Harley. I don't know, unless somebody had to do something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay, so what is this one? Whoa, get off there. Hello. Oh, okay. So after they seized her car, she went and got the Altima. So the Kia was the first one, and the Rio was the first one. The Altima was the second one. They were able to install a GPS tracker on this vehicle. Provided particularly useful information on the 31st. A map of some of this data is included below. This will be discussed below and relates to the area north of Palmer Lake along 105 and South Prairie Road in Douglas County. They believe she returned to the area in which she disposed of Gannon. Indeed, investigators recovered a piece of particle board from the area with Gannon's blood on it. I mean, they don't see any reason for the fact that Leticia returned to the area based on the information presented. She disposed of Gannon at night and likely was nervous about the location she chose and may not have even remembered exactly where she put him. Investigators believe on the 31st, she went back to the area to view the area while sunlight was available to ensure no evidence was viewable from the road, to ensure his remains were adequately covered to prevent detection, and to see if any law enforcement was in the area. On her Volkswagen, the FBI was able to recover data which included but not limited to the estimated location of the vehicle, specifically related to the evening of the 28th and the morning of the 29th. Hold on, where is it? Comes up here. Okay, so the data placed the car leaving Colorado Springs Airport just after 7 on January 28th. That matched her parking receipt. She was, hold on, where was she? I lost my spot, sorry. She stopped at King Soopers parking lot for approximately 10 minutes, and surveillance footage from there indeed showed the dark SUV matching her vehicle. Other footage, including footage from a Wendy's restaurant in a separate location, helped to further corroborate the data from the car. Of significant importance, it indicated that her car stopped for approximately 5 minutes in an area proximate to the recovery of Gannon's blood on February 15th. This is the same area Leticia likely drove to her Altima rental vehicle on the 31st. The recovery of Gannon's blood in this area is discussed below.
Gloria, this isn't the 955-mile trip. There's nothing in this document that says either of the rental cars had 955 miles on them. So I'm not sure if that's accurate information or if it was just
the
wrong.
Kia had 71 miles on it. And prior to this document, nobody knew that there was really a second car. So there was a statement or information that came out that said that car rental receipt was inaccurate. There was a typo or whatnot. But in this document, it listed at 71 miles. Now, on the Altima, it doesn't list, not that I recall, but there's so much on these cars in this thing, God only knows. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Yeah, but this trip that they're talking about now in this image shows her driving around where she dumped his body initially, which is about, 30 miles from the house in that area. So this would be maybe a 30, 60 mile kind of trip as opposed to 955. So this is a local thing here before she moved him to Florida.
Yeah. And basically, they believe that she was the driver of that car. Huh. Here's some more stories that she told. Do you want to tell her stories?
Where are we? Let me scroll down and catch up.
Continued evolution. We're on page 26. The continued evolution of Leticia's stories. Unreal, my friends. Unreal.
All right. Let's see. I'm on paragraph 158. Investigators conducted several consensually monitored telephone calls with Mr. Stauch. Specifically, Al, at the direction of law enforcement, communicated with Leticia via telephone and email. So the cop said, hey, ask her this or ask her that and let us listen to it. And he's like, okay. So I bet she loved hearing that. So he communicated with Leticia. The communications have been recorded and memorialized and consisted of hours of recorded conversation. I will not provide a transcript of these calls. Why? I need that. But we'll summarize the importance of the particular changes in Leticia's story, and will also include exculpatory information related to Leticia's statements. Leticia never admitted to killing Gannon. For the purposes of refreshing the court, here's a summary of some of Leticia's statements, whether to law enforcement, directly through the media, and or to Al in recorded email and voice communications. On the 27th, Leticia stated Gannon left to play at a friend's house and did not come home at 6 o'clock that he was supposed to. On the 29th, Leticia stated she was held at gunpoint, raped, and Gannon was abducted by her rapist. Number 160. Within Leticia's falsehoods, there are details corroborated by physical evidence that would be near to impossible to know without being intimately involved in the murder. Leticia has made statements to explain blood on the walls in Gannon's bedroom, blood on the rear bumper of the Tiguan, and blood in the garage of the Stauch residence. Details of the location of the blood evidence had not yet been released to the media nor to Leticia, and has been closely held throughout the investigation. Furthermore, Leticia has continued to provide alibis for her physical locations not previously disclosed to the investigators. Her statements continue to evolve in a dramatic way and are all remarkably different from the original report to EPSO. The majority of the conversations between Leticia and Al began around February 13th. Over several days, Leticia's story continued to change. During a phone call on the 13th, Leticia stated that Gannon was burned by a candle to the point that his skin bubbled, and that Gannon peeled off the burns and wiped blood on his bedroom wall. Mr. Stauch did not ask about the blood on the walls of his room during this call, and my cats are killing each other. Psst, stop it. Sheesh. The fact that she provided information about blood on the wall likely indicates her knowledge of the murder scene. I have to go break this up. I'll be right back.
That sounds serious over there. Okay. On Valentine's Day, she had an additional conversation with Al, provided 4 additional versions of Gannon's disappearance. Now all 4 of these came on Valentine's Day. Story number 1. When El Paso came to the house on the 27th, the abductor was still in the residence, and she tried to signal to El Paso, to the deputies that there was someone in the house. It should be noted that deputies checked the entirety of the house and no additional person was located during that search. So she is saying that Lena and Harley are in the house with some random person that only abducted Gannon, and the cops didn't find him or Gannon. Okay. Story number 2. She was assaulted by Quincy Brown at her residence, and Brown took Gannon. She knew his identity because she saw a paper and his identification card fell out of his pocket that had his name on it. Right. She sent a photograph of Quincy to Al via text message. It is noted this photograph mirrored images online where Quincy Brown was listed as a most wanted suspect discussed below. So she basically went to, America's Most Wanted, picked a picture and said that that was her assailant. Now, her story changes with Quincy Brown. Quincy Brown had followed her home from Petco and at some point was lying in the middle of the road in front of her car. When she stopped to avoid running the man over, he jumped into her car and made her take him home, then assaulted her.
Eduardo booked it. He left. He left town. He's like, nah, I'm turning this over to Quincy. These are my good friends.
Right. Quincy,
Apparently.
tag, you're in. It's like a tag team for WWE. Like, what?
Yeah.
What in the... Now this guy just lays in the road, but he followed her from Petco. How do you follow someone?
On foot? Yeah. He ran after the truck?
From the front to where you can lay down in the road.
In front of her.
Yeah. This is like a Bugs Bunny cartoon episode. Like, I can't even stand it.
Yep.
Oh, so then she has another one. Leticia and Gannon were near County Line Road and Highway 105 in northern El Paso County on the 27th. Gannon was riding a bicycle in that area, fell off, hit his head, and was then abducted by Quincy. Damn it, Quincy. And this version of it,
everywhere.
Quincy was driven by a man named Terrence. I mean,
how did she know that? How would you know that?
I don't know.
It's just
now story number 4, they say, has several interesting considerations. During the period of February 12th through 14th, it was public knowledge by virtue of media coverage that investigators were searching for Gannon in the area of Highway 105 and Perry Park Road in southern Douglas County near the El Paso County line. Leticia brought this location up on her own without prompt during a conversation and provided an alibi for why she was in that area. She was adamant that investigators' efforts to search for Gannon in that area, they would be futile. Don't even bother. Nah. Well, she's playing the game of hot and cold with them, This area turned out to be significant based on her car's location on the 28th and that Gannon's blood was found in the area, discussed below in more detail. Leticia she drove through the same area in the Altima rental on the 31st. I submit that based on the data retrieved from her car, she was likely in the area of Highway 105 and South Perry Park Road on the evening of the 28th. Gannon's remains were left in the vicinity of that area. Her story lays the foundation for a reason why investigators may locate Gannon's body with head trauma. Yeah. Very much so. On the 15th of February, she provided additional conflicting stories to Al, including that the story she had told Al about Gannon falling off the bike was a lie because it was what she believed he wanted to hear. What? His son is missing, and she just wants to tell him what he wants to hear is that he is, in fact, down the road at a friend's house, and he can come home any minute now. That's what he wants to hear, you crazy ass broad. Anywho, Leticia stated that blood in the corner of Gannon's room was a combination of hers and Gannon's. In this explanation, she stated that the abductor assaulted both of them. Additionally, she was tied up at some point in the abduction, and the abductor was still present during the El Paso County Sheriff's Office visit that night.
Yeah. Loria, you're right. She has used every crazy card in the deck. Yep. Other than aliens. That's probably the only other thing we're missing.
Oh, I didn't know that, Brooke. I don't do like Facebook very much, but because Facebook groups to me, like they make my head spin sometimes. But her being in the Chris Watts group, it's pretty interesting because apparently he was some sort of hero to her. Maybe. I don't know. I don't get this. I wish an alien would come get her, right? Maybe she should have stormed Area 51, way back whenever the hell that was supposed to be and called it good. Yeah. So Quincy Brown, they're basically saying he has nothing to do with this. He has a long criminal history, and she basically just looked him up online and tried to drag him into it. Now, this goes into them talking about his blood on the side of the road. And they did locate a piece of particle board during that search on February 15th. The particle board had a stain that appeared to be consistent with blood and is pictured below, which, again, we don't have good pictures of. It was basically a DNA match. It was confirmed to be Gannon's DNA the following day on the 16th. So, they believe that she used this particle board during the disposal of his remains. The area in which the particle board was found is rural, and the ground was covered with approximately 6 to 12 inches of snow. As the area is rural in nature, it is likely populated by wildlife, and they speculate that some things may have happened to Gannon. The below map depicts where the particle board was recovered, compared with data from her car, and it sat there idling for around 5 minutes on January 28th. The GPS tracker data from the Altima on the 31st is noted above. So it puts both of these cars in this area.
Yep.
I wish these pictures were better. I'm sure we could do these maps ourselves and figure it out, but phew. So they were able to basically intercept all of her cell phone activity and recorded hours of communication between Stauch and others. Each and every communication intercepted is not included within this affidavit. As during other portions of the investigation, Leticia continued to provide different stories to different people about Gannon's disappearance. She provided false information to her sister and other family members. Apparently, there was a conversation during which she provided multiple different stories for what happened to him. Several of these stories are discussed above. On February 16th at around 7:30, she told a female believed to be Tila Cummings that she had been giving Al numerous false stories because she knows he will not believe anything she says. I don't even know. Now, this is where, okay, let me finish this thing and then we'll go. The next part is ridiculous. On February 17th at around almost 2 o'clock, Leticia told a female believed to be associated with Laura Abernathy that she was thinking about flying out to Colorado to take a lie detector test to prove her innocence. During that call, she stated, "They think I'm still in Colorado." On another February 17th call at around 10 after 4, Leticia told an unknown female that she is going to take a lie detector test, but the test is not admissible in court and no law enforcement would be present. Now, this is some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen in my life. I just can't.
This is crazy. It's just crazy.
No, you tag, you're it.
All right. Leticia decides that she needs a polygraph test to prove her innocence. So on February 18th, about 10:14, Leticia calls a phone number, conducted research on that phone number, and learned it was associated with a website, fakepolygraph.com. During that call, Leticia stated she never got a confirmation for a test she paid for. Leticia provided the spelling of her name, and before disconnecting the call, the unknown male stated that he would resend her the results to her email. Looking at the website, fakepolygraph.com, you found that it's a website that does fake polygraph tests, basically. On February 18th, at about 11:16, Leticia again called the number. During this call, Leticia inquired about an email she received. The unknown male stated that her report was blocked by management based on the content of the questions, and stated that with any illegal activities, they reserve the right not to send the report. Leticia's response was as follows. T says, "What do you do now? Just delete it and go on about life and keep the money?" Male at fakepolygraph.com says, "Yes, we do indeed." Leticia says, "Okay, I gotcha. Thank you. Goodbye." Really? So
I just thought the guy was like, "Yep, lady, you're screwed. Have a good day. Bye now."
Yep. So we skip ahead just a paragraph.
You know what I mean? Like, you're out.
Yeah. Here are the questions that Leticia submitted for her fake polygraph test. A, do you intend to answer these questions regarding your stepson truthfully? Yes. Is your birthday August 4th, 1983? Yes. Did you participate in any way in causing harm to your own stepson? No. Did your stepson return with you to your home? Yes. Did you participate in any way in causing the death of your stepson? No. I submit to the court that if Leticia had nothing to hide, she would not have to pay for a fake polygraph results. And those questions right there are why they said, hell no, we're not giving her these results. You can't do a polygraph test about murdering your stepson and think we're going to let you do that. You know? And she was like, you're going to keep my money?
What was the date of this?
The date of the date of the call. We know that when she called them to be like, why can't I have my test? Was the 18th, yeah. But we don't know when she actually submitted this and tried to get, when she first visited the website.
Actually, here's the thing, though. She right there, in the causing the death of your stepson.
Right.
She is saying she's the first one to say he's dead, right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. But she wanted a polygraph test to say that she did not cause his death, even though technically he's still just missing. So yeah, man, she's not.
Because aside from letter B, you can switch all of those answers. Do you intend to answer these questions truthfully? No. Did you participate in any way causing harm to your stepson? Yes. Did your stepson return with you to your home? No. Did you participate in any way? Yes.
Yep.
So she's the first one to say it right there. Isn't that something?
Mm-hmm.
Goofy ass broad. All right. I mean, this, the Heidi Broussard case taught me that you can get, what is it? Fake ultrasound pictures. I didn't even know that was a thing. I did not know fake lie detector tests were a thing. Like, what?
I bet that they're used by
we're just in the mark, guys. You got to come up with some stupid scam so people like this will pay us to give them bullshit so they can get busted for stuff like this. Like, I don't understand it. It's not funny. But what is wrong with people? And then I feel like once they got this and the date, like, she's admitting that he's dead.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely.
Crazy.
So that's basically it. They conclude. There's a couple.
Yeah, they basically sum it up and say that she appeared to be researching a move. She wanted out. She had made no truthful statements. It just goes on. I mean, this basically just says this is why we think.
Yep. And that's
based
all
on the facts. Yeah, based on the facts, I submit probable cause exists to believe that on or about the 27th within the state of Colorado in El Paso County, she committed the offenses. And they list them again. And they signed this on the 28th of February, and she was arrested, I believe, on March 2nd. And then they found Gannon in Florida on the 17th, which I can't even understand that.
No. Remember, this is the probable cause affidavit. Not everything in here is a provable fact, although obviously all the blood evidence and all of that is, and the GPS data, there's a lot of facts in here, but a lot of it is still, they're trying to figure out what happened and prove to the court, say, hey, look, this is what we think happened. This is why we think it happened. This is why we'd like to arrest her. And the court said, yeah, go ahead and arrest her. She's not proven guilty at this point. It still has to go to trial. But obviously, from what we found out here, we know a lot more.
Yeah, this narrative, they're not stuck to this narrative once they get to trial. This narrative can evolve with the evidence.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. It's crazy. The thing that gets me is that suitcase. He was in that suitcase that day.
Yep, absolutely. It seems that she put him in the suitcase right after she killed him in his room, put that in the trunk of her car, drove that to the airport and picked up the Kia, and then left that there till she could get back to her car and then dump him by the side of the highway, and then later on picked him up again and took him to Florida. That we don't know yet. what did she put him in to take him to Florida? How did
Right.
that
Miriam,
happen?
I believe she has, from what I understand, she has family like on the East Coast. Like that's where the majority of her family lives. Now, I feel like for her to get him to Florida, I mean, clearly she was able to leave the state and they didn't seem to know. They clearly admit in this document that they had a hard time keeping up with her because she's renting cars and turning off her phone and doing all kinds of whatever. So when the Florida thing first came up, it immediately said to me that she had to have help. And I don't know, maybe she didn't. Maybe she did do all this.
Gannon was found in a suitcase tossed over a guardrail under a bridge of a highway in Florida near Pensacola.
Yeah, here, I'll let me find it.
And the link to your live stream we did that day about it.
Yeah.
Gannon, he didn't weigh much. He was 11, but he was rather thin. That wouldn't have been too hard for her to dispose of him by herself. It's possible. So, but we don't know yet. We don't know any of the details of how that came about, and we won't until they release more information. But I'm sure we'll find out eventually.
I'm looking. Hold on.
Yeah, somewhere on Denise's channel, there's a live stream. When we got the news that they found him, we did go live. The sheriff's department down there was a highway worker, and they were doing some work or cleaning under the highways or something, and they found him. They reported it to the local police, who then contacted the El Paso County sheriffs in Colorado and said, "We have a deceased young male here. Is this your kid?" And then they took a couple days and did some DNA testing and stuff, and presumptively said that yes, that was Gannon, and then we went from there. Yeah, she does have connections in Florida. At one point, she had a conversation with someone over text about it was good to meet up with the crew again in Florida. Not sure what that's all about. So she did have connections there, and apparently she drove there on her way up to Myrtle Beach, where she was ultimately arrested.
Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? So this is the area where Gannon was found.
There we go.
On the side of a road. And thank God, because these are actually very tall bridges as you go around that turn. So maintenance in this area, I can't imagine it happens often.
All we know is that he was found in a brown suitcase. No other details about the condition of the body, the state of the body, if he was wrapped in anything. All we know is that he was in a suitcase. They haven't released any information from the autopsy or anything like that.
Now, this goes on to say her new charges, which ended, which the things that were added were the crime of violence, 8 counts. So, I don't know. It's very disturbing to know how, let me hit that. How brazen she was. Like, she just doesn't care. Can I add that? Hold on.
Al was in Oklahoma at a training event for the National Guard. They did live in Colorado. That was their base. So he was just away for a temporary training thing.
Yeah, military moves you everywhere. Yeah. Eve sent they're looking for anybody that has information that may have seen Leticia in this area, Florida, between February 3rd and February 5th. Now, those are interesting dates because that was fairly quickly after he went missing.
Yeah.
I mean, a week. So he got to Florida within a week. She got to Florida within a week. I'm not really sure how that happened.
Yeah.
Because if they've narrowed it down to those dates, I'd really like to know what that information is.
I'm sure they'll let us know. And I mean, this really needs to go to trial because I want these answers. I don't want her to just plead guilty, everything gets sealed, and we never find out. Even though there's some details I really don't want to know, but I need to get it clear in my head just because I can't let go of this case.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think ever in my life of all the cases I've done, I've ordered a t-shirt and I'm wearing it. You know what I mean? Like as soon as Charlene posted in Discord that the shirts were only available, I'm like, take my money now. Yeah. You know, so, you know, Brooke, you're probably right that it sounds like she wasn't interested in the kid. She was interested in Al. It sounds like she was interested in the military benefits and all the things that came with that. But Al had responsibilities and she just didn't want any. That's what I get from it. That's my opinion.
I am glad that she didn't go after Lena too, you know, because if she was, you know, reading up on the Chris Watts case stuff, she might have figured, hey, let's just get rid of all the kids because then, haha, you know. But
right.
Thank God it didn't go to that point, you know.
You know what, Brooke? Somebody did some good digging and found out that area where Gannon was found was actually flooded at the time. Well, between February 3rd and February 5th. So there's speculation that she thought he would kind of get out, that suitcase would get in the water in some little small channel and end up in the ocean somewhere. But it wasn't quite as flooded as she thought, or she wasn't quite as strong as she thought to get it where it needed to go, or whoever put him there. I don't know. That's that theory. Whoever dug that up, I forget. If I could remember, I'd give you credit. If you're watching, I'm so sorry. But I thought that was a pretty good investigative decision. But finding out that was flooded was pretty interesting. Yeah, he was little. My grandson Aiden was just under 4 pounds. He was born at 28 weeks. He spent 56 days in the NICU, and he was little. And Gannon was half his size. That for me,
my goodness,
like my whole hand could cover Aiden when he was little, and to know that Gannon was half his size, like. I don't know. I saw things in that NICU that were miraculous on all kinds of kids, but I never saw a little someone that small. And Gannon did it. Like that was, yes, Mariah. Let's find JJ and Tylee. I have some notes on that case, and I am so sorry. I didn't mean to go MIA, but with this new, everybody's locked in the house and everybody's home, and it's actually been nice here. Yeah, we've been fostering dogs, and I'm gonna go up and get you the one we have right now. I'm pretty sure she's gonna live here. I'm just pretty sure of it. But it's been nice here, so we've been working outside, which is nice. At least we get to go outside. Like today, Walgreens texted me and said my medicine was ready. I was like, sweet, because I don't have to get out of the car, but I can get out of the house. You know, like it's all drive-through. Don't have to have any interaction. I don't have to like come through the decontamination chamber when I get home. I'm like, this is beautiful. And to be alone, even if it was just for the 30-minute ride, you know, to be alone, that was a miracle.
Harmony, the person who found Gannon will definitely talk if this goes to trial because you know he'll be called as a witness for sure. Will he talk to media or something? I don't know. I probably wouldn't if it was me, you know. But I'm sure
we had no idea, and he probably only opened that suitcase thinking some wackadoo, you know. The Griswolds were driving through and the suitcase fell off. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what he's thinking. And little did he know that he's finding some small little guy who's missing almost on the other side of the country. It's absolutely insane. I don't know. Let's see. God bless America.
Yeah, so I need to see this puppy.
Oh, let me go get her. All right, I will be right back.
All right.
I don't hear anybody running. She might be sleeping. I don't know. She's like, puppies are like worse than human babies. They're up for an hour. They sleep for 2, and you don't know.
Yeah.
Like she's trying to learn to bark, and in the middle of the night, she was hungry, and I'm like, what the hell is that noise? Scared the shit out of me. Let me go get her. I'll be right back.
Yes, this puppy is so cute. Denise has been flooding my Instagram and Snapchat and everything with pictures of the puppy. So I can't wait to see her on camera. That'll be great. Oh, and then we have to update on the Valo case. I hope Denise will do that in the next day or 2. There's some new thing. I guess there was a new video or audio call or something released. I saw on Justin Lum's Twitter, but I didn't watch it. So I'll have to get into that and see what's going on. I think she's coming back with the doggy. I'm so tired, I'm falling asleep. See the puppy and go to bed.
Okay. You ready?
Yes, let's see.
She was asleep. Say hi.
Oh, look
Say
at
hello,
her.
everyone. Hey, tell him you need a name. Say we can't pick a name. She's so tired and she don't care. She'll just fall out. Hey, hello. You want to show him our picture from yesterday? Or no, the other day we went to Lowe's. I don't even know what the hell day it was. What was her first ride? We just took her with us because I didn't want to leave her in the crate. I'm weird like that. So let me send this picture over. So we get in the truck and she is like, she's not freaking out, but she's not exactly excited about it. So hold on one second. What's your problem? Oh, where'd you go? She's like, just put me down. I don't know. We don't have any, just throw out some names. We're all over the map. We were, oh, it's a rough life, ain't it? Yeah, hi. It's a rough life. Where'd it go? There it is. Oh, shit. Hold on. What?
She totally looks like part of the family already. Like, that's it.
Totally saying her eyelashes are white and her eyes are blue. Oh, I'm like, stop it already. And I've always wanted a blue-eyed dog, so I don't know. I have a feeling. Let's see, where are we? There we are. All right, hold on. We should be up here now. Let me find it. Hi, yes, I see you. Oh, don't eat my ear. Don't eat my ear. Don't eat my ear, ma'am. Okay. Hold on, guys. Sorry. Trying to think and make sure I don't drop her. Let's see. Where are we? Okay. Now, all right. So we get in the truck and she's like kind of freaking out, not like bad. So I have her on my lap and she literally like climbs me like a tree. Yes, I see you. Thanks for the kiss.
Oh,
you're so sweet. It kind of tickles. So she gets up on me, and this is what she's doing. Oh, big yawn. She's on my shoulder and she thinks this is like the coolest thing ever. Now we live kind of out in the sticks, so it takes us about 30 minutes to get to Lowe's. And this is what I sat with for the whole ride. Weren't you happy? Weren't you happy? She's like, let me down. You have so much stuff on this table I want to play with. Yes. You were sleeping. Tell him, say, name me.
Oh, she's such a doll. Look at her. That nose.
What?
She's
Nothing.
Like, I love you. You know you.
She's like, can I just go back to sleep now? Like, are we done here?
Yep.
So yeah, this was a fun picture. She was just hanging out. I feel like if she was a boy, we could. Well, see, like the other dog we fostered, he got adopted earlier this week, but he was already named because he was older. Now she literally just came up from Arkansas the day we got her, which I believe was Wednesday. I don't even know what day it is. I believe that was Wednesday. She just came up from Arkansas and we got her that night. And the gal that I deal with, she's like, you guys just pick a name for her. I'm like, ooh, that's a big responsibility. But she's so young, and she, like, if we start with her now, because she's so little, like she's probably not even old enough to be too far away from mom, but some jackass left her and her siblings on the side of the road in Arkansas. No biting. No. Don't be a knucklehead. Show them how crazy you are. Oh, no. Oh, I see this false advertising. You're not going to show them your crazy side? But they left him on the side of the road, so they brought him up Wednesday. So she got her shots, Wednesday, because yesterday she didn't feel good. She laid around all day. She was having a little side effect of her shots. So, yeah. Oh, Roxy. Roxy's cute. Kobe. Oh, shit. Hey, Heather, how are you? I'm looking like I'm finally seeing names. I feel so bad. Yeah, I don't know what we'll call her. I don't know. But I'm pretty sure
colorings. It's kind of
she's got it's hard to see. Well, there you can kind of see there. Her ears are trimmed in blue, and she's got blue brindle throughout her. She's got blue. Hold on now. Come on, crazy pants. I think she's gonna type. Yep. Ooh, oh shit. What are you hitting? Hold on. Let me move the keyboard. Man, I got problems going on here. I don't know. Everybody thinks she's got blue heel in her, which is great. She's going to be a good dog. But her coloring is just so unique. Wait, no, you can't. You're going to, oh shit. How'd you do that? I didn't even know that was an option. How'd you do that? That was kind of cool, actually. Oh my gosh. I had a German Shepherd when I was a kid and I loved it. That was the coolest dog ever. And then we had your blue heeler was so dumb. I don't know. She goes to the door and like squeaks when she has to go out. Like it's the weirdest thing. I'm like, do you know how little you are? I'm like, man, like you're a genius. The next one might be a dumbass. You have to stay. You know what I'm saying? Ooh, Azul. That's cute.
Look at her.
Oh, are we going back to the shoulder thing now? Huh? Is that what we're doing? So, yeah, it is, sheltering these, fostering the dogs. Like my husband said, it gives us something to do. That's my face, knucklehead. Like, I don't know, because it's so, there's nothing going on. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. And it's just, at least, we're not in a position financially where we can like adopt a family. You know what I mean? Like, take care of that. But the shelter that the lady I know, she's a smaller shelter out here in the sticks. And with everything that's going on, she's not getting donations. Right. So there's animals that need somewhere to go. Now, I can feed a dog. You know what I mean? I can walk a dog. I can do all that stuff. So they feel like we're at least doing something because there are animals that are struggling. We have Anheuser-Busch is here and they work with the shelter. So, of course, that shelter is totally taken care of. But they said they were going to give cases of beer a week to everybody, a case of beer a week to everybody that sheltered a dog during, all of this. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that shelter is great and all, but it's the little shelters that are struggling. So, yeah, what do you think? The last puppy we had, this small, oddly enough, we got her about the same time of year in 2000. And his name was Mo, and we had him for 15 years. So, I don't know. Uh-oh.
Well, she's precious, and she looks like she belongs to you already. Absolutely.
Yeah, she's very, I don't know. Name her Hope. Oh, that's sweet. I keep thinking, I feel like she needs like, I don't mean this in a bad way, but like an old lady name like Pearl or Mabel. I don't know why. Wayne's aunt, her name was Edaloo. And she was like everybody's favorite aunt. And I'm like, we could totally call this dog Etta. I would be so happy with that. And I talk to my father-in-law because I'm like, it's his sister. Would he be weirded out? And the funny part is Aunt Etta was afraid of dogs. So it's, ow, you little snot rocket. That hurts. So I was like, I don't know if that's appropriate, but I feel like Etta is so cute. I don't know. Ooh, Adele. That's Gertie. I always say good God, Gertie. Yeah, that we could do that. Yes, we could. Yes, we could. No. That's my hair. Ooh, she loves hair. Girlfriend. Look, talk to your friend. Say hi, friend.
She is adorable, but I need to get going. I haven't had dinner yet, and it's past my fasting time, and I'm starving. I'm going to go have chicken or something. Ugh.
I don't know. Make me something. Damn. I'm tired of cooking. I'll tell you that shit, too. No. Oh, Emma's cute. Oh, Atlee. Look at you guys go. Linda. Oh, my God. Linda would die. Linda would die. You want to be a Linda? You don't look like a Linda. What do you look like?
She looks like an Emma. I like Emma.
This is false advertising. You know that, right? Because you're a nut. You're a nut. I woke her up. She doesn't like that. Ooh, rain. Oh. I don't know. Right. We'll figure out here. But thank you guys all for coming and supporting
Stay
Dana.
Safe.
Yeah.
Stay home and wash your hands.
And we will do this again soon. I will not be like I was so excited to come down here, but I finally did it. So we will. We need to talk about Lori and Chad. Holy moly. I've got notebooks full. But thank you guys all for coming. Everybody say a prayer for Gannon. You guys stay safe, stay inside, take care of yourselves, take care of everyone around you, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, guys. Have a good night.